Odette's Journey is a project that came about because my good friend Gail Hillard said one day, why don't you do a block about Odette Ueltschi? Having worked on women's history and been heavily involved in that with some past books and projects, she thought it would be something to honor this person. Now, many of you out there are going, I've never heard of Odette Ueltschi. It's a fascinating story about a woman from Switzerland who is the daughter and granddaughter of two entrepreneurs who actually were involved in inventing and naming the Bernina machine. Now, what I would like to tell you is, regardless of what you sew on and who you are, this story should resonate with everyone, because it really does bring to the forefront how looking at different decisions and involvement in what we could be doing to make our machines better. Odette Ueltschi worked very, very involved in this process. And the other thing, women, that you might want to pay note to, and men as well, Odette Ueltschi ran a company in Switzerland when women really couldn't vote until 1971. So that's another thing that resonates with me about this story. So let's get into really thinking about how all this came about. Once Gail said, Kay, why don't you do a story, first thing I had to do was get busy and design a block. Now, when we talk about designing a block, understand that there's only so many elements in patchwork. There's only so many things you can combine, put together, and create a block. Could it have been somewhere by somebody else? We never know that. Two people could have the same idea at the same time. But to my knowledge, this block does not exist in a library. So therefore, we set about to create, first of all, a pattern. Then the story became so much larger than that the book, Odette's Journey, came to pass. Her son, Hans-Peter Ueltschi, is currently at the helm of Bernina in Switzerland, is aware of the project, so we had the blessing of all the people that were involved in the family history. I called on a bunch of my friends, as I typically do when I have a book facing me, and they got busy, and the book has 12 quilts in it with X number of projects. There's 2 or 3 that are complete as far as how to create a block and the quilt. And then there are others that are just suggestions. There are pillows. There are ideas about how to create borders. But mostly what I'd love to have you all do prior to us starting a filming session on executing the block, we want to be sure you have the book in front of you so you can work along with us. So as you look at some of these quilts, I'd love to tell you a few things about Odette that I learned during this process. One of the things that resonated with me heavily was Odette's son, Hans-Peter Ueltschi, said everything she did was with her customers in mind. Her sense of the aesthetics and her quality consciousness were a major influence on the style of Bernina. Her decision-making was influenced to a large degree by spontaneity and emotion, the human touch. So as we think about all of the things that she did that created a lot of the things other brands are still using in machines, and certainly Bernina is using, but bear in mind, for us, this is about a celebration of a woman who was at the helm of a company in that time frame. Many of the people that were interviewed for the stories and stuff said that one of the most important things about Odette was her ability to listen to her employees and try to structure her company in that manner. One of the other things that I loved the most about reading the Odette story, and I did not ever have the luxury of meeting her, as I didn't meet Martha Washington or Amelia Earhart, and a lot of other people that I wrote about. She was a big fan of the book, The Little Prince. And one of the things in that book that I love so much, and a quote she used that actually was read at her funeral, was, "Only the heart can see well. The essential remains invisible to the eye." As I work on my projects, and every time I've touched anything that was Odette, I have actually thought of that statement. Another fun thing for those of you, a little trivia question, The brunette, which is the introductory line for Bernina, is they used Burr for Bernina and the last part of her name to create Burnett sewing machines. So that machine is named after her, and now we have a project named after her. The book is written in 3 methods. It is written for specialty rulers, and any brand that you have will work. It is also written for AccuQuilt. And my favorite method is well, not my favorite, but one that I love, is traditional, which means that you don't have to have any specialty tools. And I usually reference that as you could live in a tree and have a stick and you could make this quilt. So we promise you fun as we work on this. We're going to get into a lot of technique. I will be working on that gorgeous red 735 as we piece this. So stay tuned, watch for future videos, and we can't wait to see you again. Bye-bye.